Welcome to the Texas Conflict Coach radio program. If you've ever experienced or engaged in destructive or unresolved conflict, then you know it leads to broken relationships, distrust, and damaging results. Our program will help you manage and resolve conflict effectively with strategies, valuable resources, and support. Since 2009, our radio program hosted guest experts from around the globe sharing their perspectives, experiences, and expertise while giving you food for thought. If you can't listen live, then download and listen to any of our 300-plus podcasts in our library at texasconflictcoach.com. So sit back, relax, or join the conversation every Tuesday evening, or tweet us at TXConflictCoach. Welcome to the Texas Conflict Coach radio program. If you've ever experienced or engaged in destructive or unresolved conflict, then you know it leads to broken relationships, distrust, and damaging results. Our program will help you manage and resolve conflict effectively with strategies, valuable resources, and support. Since 2009, our radio program hosted guest experts from around the globe sharing their perspectives, experiences, and expertise while giving you food for thought. If you can't listen live, then download and listen to any of our 300-plus podcasts in our library at texasconflictcoach.com. So sit back, relax, or join the conversation every Tuesday evening, or tweet us at TXConflictCoach.
Good evening. On December 14, 2012, the tragedy at Sandy Hook Elementary School, where 26 people lost their lives, shook the community in Connecticut to its core, and the news spread around the world. What do you do to help in these times of pain, angst, and profound loss? Well, Denise Labrecque and her partner Evan Betts created and founded Voices for Heroes, a small nonprofit organization dedicated to the heroes of the world. Voices for Heroes celebrate kindness, perseverance, love, and anyone who uses their voice to promote peace and change. We will talk with Denise and Evan about their story and the musical projects they have spearheaded to raise funds for both Healing Newtown Art Space and the Newtown Board of Education's music department. They also kicked off their inaugural Power of Peace Festival, which is to be held annually. You're going to learn about their tribute CDs and listen to music from Connecticut Voices for Heroes and their 2-disc CD, Voices from Around the World, original songs of love for Newtown. We'll be talking more about those CDs and actually have a special treat for our listeners tonight. At the end of the show, I've selected one of the songs of many, many, many wonderful songs that we'll play at the very end, so stay tuned. So we hope you join us in our chat room. We already have a number of guests there. We're also in our Twitter room, have a Twitter chat there. We're using hashtag TCC Radio. And also, you can call in at 347-324-3591. Press the 1 key to let us know that you have a comment or question for our guest tonight. So, Denise and Evan, welcome to our program.
Thank you, Patty. Hello.
Hello, Evan, and Denise, thank you. Y'all have been wonderful in working with me over the last number of weeks as we've been getting together to, promote the program, but also to let the world know about who you are and what you've been doing in your community to be part of that healing process and also to promote peace and change. And so I want us to really give you a platform to tell your story and how Voices for Heroes got started. So just share with listeners what you would like them to know about you and your story of Voices for Heroes.
Okay. Well, when the tragedy in Newtown struck, we pulled together all the songs that were written, beautiful music, and for Newtown or something that was, fit the subject. And we put them together in 2 beautiful CDs, thinking that we could help Newtown community and help the children where it's needed, which is Healing Newtown Art Space, which is now I lost my word. The art space where all the beautiful art was sent throughout the country for Newtown, and it was kept there. And they'd also have beautiful programs for kids and their community, and people get together and they have a nice evening of music or different art programs, all kinds of things they do. So we felt that was a necessity. So, and the second one is to fund the Newtown Music Department's schools in musical instruments, because music is super, super big part of healing, at least we believe it is. And,
so having this voice is important. So what is your mission statement? What is it you were founded to do in addition to helping this? There's a real, foundational core for you.
Yes, there is. We believe that by everyone working together, we can really make a difference. And from this Newtown incident, we felt it was a big time for change. And if this doesn't bring everyone to their knees enough to make a difference at this point, maybe it needs a little more push. There's many groups doing that at this time, but it was more to bring everyone together, to work together, so that all of our children growing up today can see that even if they are one person, by bringing together their friends or even their one voice, sometimes can make a big difference to change the world. It could change one person's life in 1 minute. Sticking up for someone or cleaning up the trash in your neighborhood or anything that is raising your voice or showing others that you care, maybe they should care too.
So how were you and Evan impacted by the tragedy in Sandy Hook Elementary School? Because that is what was the crux of beginning this process for you.
Yes, it was. As it turned out, we had one of our classmates from high school had a child that was going to Sandy Hook Elementary at the time, and unfortunately was part of that tragedy. And so we wanted to do something in particular to help him and the families of Newtown. But we were at a loss as to what. And Denise had this wonderful idea of finding all this music that was coming out and gathering it together for a CD. And we thought it would be a great idea to put them onto the CDs and try and sell them and raise money to try and help these families in any way we could. But it all stemmed out of a close tie to the tragedy itself.
It's really interesting, Evan. When
it is, we want to move forward. We have the Power of Peace Festival, which is bringing all causes together, all awareness groups that many people don't even know are there if they need help. So we tried to bring this big day of causes together, and we had great music, all the artists from the CDs and a couple of guests, and what a great feeling that day was. Unfortunately, it wasn't as big as it could be. And
could have been,
will get big. But a lot of what we ran into was, this is a Hartford event, or this is a Connecticut issue. But it's not a Connecticut issue. It's a nationwide. It's how everyone should be living.
So the event that you're talking about, in addition to the music that you were putting together for the 2 CDs, you had this journey of collaborating with the community to promote peace, and this was called the Power of Peace. So this is the first annual event that you had with the idea is that every year you're having this Power of Peace event. Is that what you're referring to?
Yes, and I'm sorry I didn't say what it was called.
No. Yeah, just clarifying for folks. So the Power of Peace, so what were the things that you learned in collaborating with community members to promote this event and to promote peace? Yeah,
this is what was the difficult part, and what was the purpose for it in the first place was the separation of charities, and I found that a little disturbing, that each one was wanting to help themselves in helping their cause, which I understand, but I just feel that I think we need a more united front where we're all charities and we're all trying to make a difference, so we all should matter to each other, because that's where it's beginning. If it begins with us trying to make change, we should be making change with each other and for each other and trying to promote each other's cause, because every cause will make a difference in the world. I don't care if it's so-and-so needs coats for the winter, or somebody needs money to fight cancer, or somebody, homeless soldiers, or any medical issues, or all of it together. I just feel this is where a big change needs to start, and how we are with our children at home, and try to say, look at this charity, what they're doing. Let's join. Let's do something together as a family, and let's, it just needs to all come from everyone. And then all of these issues that are coming up, like the punching game and all these bad things, maybe these kids, if one kid says, no, I don't want to do that, that's wrong, let's not do it.
So what's the punching game? Can you say more about that?
It's actually, they're calling it the knockout game.
Yes.
And that's where a group of kids walk down the road and they, at random, select a victim, and the objective is to try and knock this person out with one punch. And it's bad news, and people are getting severely hurt. Some of them are dying because they're not able to break their fall because they're unconscious, and they're smacking their head up on the concrete or whatever, and it's causing brain injuries and death, and it's terrible, and it's all for the sake of kicks. And they feel they can get away with it because they're underage, and they think that when they turn 18, their records are going to get expunged, and they're going to go along their merry way. And but they don't realize that it's not a game. It's not only their victims' lives, but it's their lives as well, because people are fighting back. And there was just a story a couple of days ago where two of them got shot to death because they went on. They started doing this to the wrong person, and the guy pulled out a gun and shot him. I mean, this is not a game, and it's not funny.
And these were kids.
Stuff we're hoping that, I don't know, I know people are saying, you can't change the world, and you can't, what are you trying to do, and what's your point? And my point is, no, maybe I can't change your mind and their mind and everyone's mind, but maybe I could change one kid to grow up to be a strong teenager and say, no, I'm not a bully, or I'm not and I want to help this cause, or I know it sounds, far-fetched maybe, but I do believe that by speaking or making a slight change, even by smiling or giving someone a hug for the day, hugging a homeless person who you think might smell, but they still are people and they're human and they need love, And I just feel that starting with Newtown, that just was enough for me. I don't know about anybody else, but I had it.
Well, it's really interesting, back a little bit earlier when, you were talking and when Evan was saying, how do you, when something tragic like this happens, and not just to your friend or to a close family member, but to a whole community, not only are you, obviously the family members who lost directly loved ones, but those in that community and around the world have so much pain and angst about what can I do to help. And a lot of times we get stuck with what do we do to ease that pain. And maybe there's nothing we can do, but the fact that you took action, the fact that your intention was to bring people together, to promote peace, to use art and music to heal, and especially as you were using the CDs to promote the Healing Newtown art space and the music program with the Board of Education. But what I keep hearing you say is, how do we as a community, whether that is a teenager, an adult, a teacher, the homeless person, how do we all come together with one voice, come together to start changing these types of behaviors, these expectations? How do we start to promote peace? And we don't have to be competitive about it just because there's, 20,000 nonprofit organizations. I mean, just in your community, you're saying, Why is it so difficult to bring everybody together to promote one voice, one message around peace? And I hear some of your frustration in your organizing of the Power of Peace event. But it sounds like that event, even though it didn't gain the numbers you were hoping, I got the impression that was a very emotionally community-oriented event that brought people together. Is that right?
It really was. I had people coming from places and I had never met before, only dealt with on Facebook because of this event, and come to me and say, I can't stop crying. I just can't stop crying. This is so beautiful. I can't wait till the next one. I'm so moved and I'm so touched. And we have our Secretary of Voices for Heroes, Fran Cozzolino. She's on our second CD, and I'm going to thank her, by the way, and Terry and everybody who's done anything, and all our artists, and before I forget. And she's always finding all this stuff on Facebook and getting so upset and so frustrated, also because she kind of came in towards, our second CD coming out, and she was so into this day, and it was so frustrated because people would just, shun you because you're not involved with their organization. So it was very frustrating, and then for her to be there that day and see, it was such a good feeling for all of us to have that kind of unity. And I truly believe that this is something that could get bigger, and everyone that goes can feel what we feel. I had a homeless man come to me and say, why wasn't this around town? I didn't see advertisements. Because Voices for Heroes is small. And it's hard to get the word out there, and it takes money, and it takes, But he said, this is fantastic, and I wanted them all to know they could be there, and they're welcome at the event. And I want it to be like that every year.
And so next year, you're already planning for your next year's event. Is that going to be held at a certain time each month every year in June or something like that nature? Or?
Well, I just only begun pulling myself together after the last one. That was so much work. I needed a minute. But this time, if we do it, it would probably be in the same month, and we'll have to let everyone know when that date comes.
So it sounds like one thing, listeners, especially if you're in the Connecticut area, Newtown area, that Denise and Evan will definitely be looking for volunteers if you want to become part of that. And voicesforheroes.org is the website that you can look at for the Power of Peace Festival. In fact, there's videos and some wonderful pictures that were posted from that event. Now, the anniversary is just around the corner of this tragedy, and yet the town is really keeping things somewhat low-key. Can you say more about why this is important to the community to keep things low-key this year?
Yes, I totally get it. We would like nothing more than to, do something special for them with music. But honestly, they were bombarded with, the press and the people driving by and the people stopping and the people writing and sending, and it was just so much that I don't think they've really had a minute to be within their own units to heal on their own. They need some space, and I get it. I completely understand that, and that's another reason we kind of stayed low-key, stood back from it, but did our own thing, trying to help, which it's not really selling at this point. It's people don't know it's there. But we don't want to push, and I think they really, really need their time to be together, and they have their own causes coming out of this, and they're trying to work on that, and I understand, and I know everybody else does too. It's really I can't imagine it being my family or my daughter or it's just way, way too much to comprehend, and I think they need that space.
Well, with such a tragic event, it takes a long time for not only the individual healing and the family healing, but the community healing as well. And just today, I saw information about the update of the gentleman who had killed his mother and, of course, killed the 26 individuals there at the school. And so So they were just kind of giving some updates and stuff. But it sounds like people just really want the space to heal in their own time and in their own way.
Exactly.
Now, Voices for Heroes, though, is not just about Newtown, about the tragedy that occurred there. Voices for Heroes, my understanding, is something more than that. And I know that you're very passionate about helping homeless U.S. soldiers. Can you say a little bit more about what you want listeners to know about the other projects that Voices for Heroes is working on?
Yes, this is going to be a big one. We've kind of been working on it quietly in the background. This was our plan before Newtown happened, but that kind of took us over. But there's 126,000 soldiers, homeless, U.S. soldiers, which tells us, what are we doing? And so we would like to gather music. We have some already from people who have songs that they think might fit that situation, whether it's be supporting your military in any way or a brother you've written about that had to go off, or a sister, or a son, or a daughter, and we'd like to put together another CD eventually and try to help, even if it's one homeless person that should not be, like, no one should be homeless, actually, but I just feel like they need some support on this, and I know there's many groups working towards, supporting our soldiers, and it's in supporting the families of soldiers, because then there's the suicide. There's just so many things that I want to work on and we want to get moving forward on. Teen suicide, all these things that occur from bullying, or they lost a family member due to violence or war, or there's no help really out there for all of that.
So Denise, I know that the Voices for Heroes came as a culminating event from the Newtown tragedy, but I'm hearing much more from you than just that. I'm hearing, the U.S. soldiers, the homelessness, and the teenage suicide and bullying. What really drives you at your core to bring these artists together to write and to sing about these types of things? Where does that come from for you, and or Evan, for that matter?
Well, from pain, seeing pain around me. Of course, we've all lived our own type of tragedy or pain, or, we all have our own things, but just seeing it in the world, it makes it 10 times worse. And seeing us as human beings treat each other like, I would normally say an animal, but that's not how I even like to see an animal treated, so I can't say that. But it just has to change. We need to be the change, and we need to be the change today. I don't care how small it is. The tiniest little thing is what we need to do.
I would like to add to that also that music has been very, very influential in my life, and I believe in Denise's also. Our families were very musical, and we'd always get together and we'd sing and play guitars, whatever. And we've always found music to be very therapeutic, which is why we thought that perhaps making this collection of music about this particular incident would help not only the community but other individuals as well in dealing with this situation.
Or any situation where they've lost.
Okay. So that really helps to understand where the music component, but also it comes from this place of, of deep pain, which most of us, if we're, more than 6 months old, have experienced to some degree or another in our life. And I love your quote about be the change. So before we pick up any more, let me just let listeners know we're actually a little bit past our halfway point in our program, and you are tuned in to the Texas Conflict Coach Blog Talk radio program, and I'm speaking with Denise Labrecque and Evan Betts with Voices for Heroes out of Connecticut, and we've been talking a great deal about their mission, about their passion for music, and how they're bringing in artists and musicians who have created these 2 CDs. The 2 CDs are Connecticut Voices for Heroes and a 2-disc CD, Voices from Around the World, Original Songs of Love for Newtown. And I wanted to pick up something, Denise and Evan, that you just said about one of your kind of behind-the-scenes projects you've been working on with the U.S. soldiers, and that you're looking for artists, whether they've written songs or poetry about the military or soldiers or that are currently serving or maybe past soldiers. Is that my understanding, is that you're still looking for artists so that you can be putting a third CD together?
Yes. Some of our artists do have things that would go with this, but we also would welcome new artists to whatever they would like to share, and if we can use it, we would gladly hear it out and see what we have, and that would be great. And we're also, just so if anyone gets a chance, go on Facebook and check us out. We will be, from here and there, would be posting things about collecting hygienic items for the homeless soldiers. We delivered one group of it, and I'm telling you, these people just love it. They need it so badly.
Yeah, they were so very appreciative of all this stuff that we delivered.
Yeah, they were so
happy.
So
are you collecting hygiene items as well?
Yes, we are.
So in Newtown, that's where you're collecting it there in Newtown?
No, we're collecting it everywhere in Connecticut, and elsewhere too. People send it to us, it's really.
Where would they find where they could send hygiene products? Is that on your Facebook page, or is there an address you can give on the phone?
We can. It's 118 Capitol Avenue, Waterbury, Connecticut, and it's 06705. And they can write to us.
06705. Okay.
And they can write to us at admin@voicesforheroes.com. They can send music to us.
Through the same address, I would imagine.
Right.
Because the other one's not set up yet.
Right, that's fine.
Okay, so admin@voicesforheroes.com is the email that they can send poetry or music regarding, especially around the homeless soldiers, and the address again to send any. Now, is this for male and female hygiene products?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Okay, so you're collecting hygiene products for male and or females of various for adults. 118 Capitol Avenue, Waterbury. I would assume that's WATERBURY in Connecticut.
Correct.
06705. We'll put that on our show page as well, that you're collecting these products. The soldiers must have really appreciated you doing that.
Oh, we had given a Heroes Award, which is something else we do so if anyone has any great hero that they'd like to
recognize,
tell us about, we will be having another one at the next Power of Peace Festival that we do award with a Heroes Award. We did Joe the Barber, who gives haircuts to the homeless veterans in the park. Unbelievable man. He's retired. He has sore legs. He's out there every Wednesday doing haircuts. He is such a doll. And so they're all there, and just seeing their faces and having them hug you and say, oh, thank you so much, and tell everyone thank you, and someone just delivered us a bunch of Bibles for any of them who might want that. And, people are amazing. They really are. And if anyone wants to hear the new Power of Peace Festival song that was written called The Power of One, it was written by Frankie Zadek, Fran Cozzolino, and Tom Roberto. And we'll be posting that on our page, too.
On your Facebook page?
Right. And that's called The Power of One. And the whole point of what we're saying, they put this together, and it's really good. Oh,
I love that. I'll be looking for it. The Facebook page, folks, is Voices for Heroes Sandy Hook. So when you're looking online, you're going to, on the Facebook page, it's going to actually say Voices for Heroes Sandy Hook. When you like their page. So we encourage everyone to go like the page and be listening and looking for that. And the barber that you just shared, who goes into the park to cut the homeless soldiers' hair, is a perfect example of be the change.
Exactly.
And it just takes one, and I love that. I love your message about be the one. Now, we usually end our program with an assignment for the week or call to action. So what would you like listeners to do as soon as they finish hearing this show? What is it you're encouraging them to do?
if they have kids, grab your kids and talk to them about how they can help another child in class or a friend in need, or even just by saying hi to a stranger that might look a little down, or anything. Pick up trash in their community. Just maybe, I wouldn't have said that normally, but this week it's kind of hitting me hard with this knockout thing. Just talk to your kids and talk to your friends and see who you can get involved with. Maybe do it together as a family. Try to do some charity work or something kind for another family who might be in need. Anything kind in any way, shape, or form. You can change someone's life in 1 minute.
And I like that. So folks, Denise has given several examples of how you can be the change. And a big thing I'm hearing in that underlying message there, Denise and Evan, is how do we teach our children, however young or however old that they are, about our own behaviors and what's acceptable and how we promote peace and love and collaboration, not knocking people out or, seeing what we can do to hurt somebody. And that's just amazing. I'll have to do a little research on this knockout game because I had not heard of that before. Go ahead.
Sorry. And not fighting within ourselves, between ourselves as adults. If they don't see that, they therefore won't grow up to be that.
Absolutely.
I know there's conflict, which is what you specialize in, and there are ways to deal other than yelling or hitting or fighting or being a tough guy. What's a tough guy? I'm a tough guy because I'm kind. That's more courage than not. And that's what these kids need to see. I'm not a bully. That makes me tough.
Well, certainly violence is the ultimate spectrum, the end of the spectrum of conflict when it escalates to that point. We think of war, we think of, and of course bullying is such a huge area, not only with kids, but with adults. You hear about workplace bullying now all the time, and it's like, why is that even acceptable behavior? It should never be acceptable behavior ever.
Right.
You're right.
So... All right, so we're getting ready to close. We'll be playing playing the song. I've selected it out. It was so hard to select the song because they're all beautiful in their own way, and in fact, I'm going to be playing them all again. But I have picked a song. You Have Made a Difference, and could you tell me the artist for that song, please?
It's Brian Asplin. You Have Made a Difference. Brian Asplin and. I can't think of his partner's name. It's Dicero. Brian Asplin. And, oh my gosh.
Well, folks will find that. And the thing about it is, folks, is that you can get the CDs. You can purchase the CDs in a number of ways. You can purchase the CDs through voicesforheroes.org. You can go to Amazon.com and purchase the CDs there. You can buy each song at iTunes. I think it was listed for like 99 cents. There's a number of ways. What is it, Denise?
CD Baby. They'll be doing, if they buy one song, that's going to make a difference. And like I said, one thing.
But you said CD Baby? Is that what you said?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I never even heard of that one. CD Baby. I'll have to look that one up.
Until we got involved with this.
I'm sure you've learned a lot about how to put these in these directories and stuff. But the money that when people buy the CDs, the money goes to both of these organizations, the Healing Newtown Art Space and then the Newtown Board of Education's Music Department. Is that right?
That's correct. We are funding with instruments.
Okay, excellent. What final message, before we play this song, what final message do each of you or both of you together have that you would like listeners to hear on our way out here?
All I can say is believe in peace, believe in change, believe you can make a difference. That's mostly it.
Great. Evan, anything more that you wanted to add?
She's pretty well summed it up, thanks.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for being on our program and shedding some light on your Voices for Heroes project, the various things that you're doing, so many community collaborative things you're trying to do, not only for the Newtown community, but around the world, really. So, folks, we're going to be closing out with You Have Made a Difference. It's 3.5 minutes long. Feel free to stay on and listen. This is recorded, and it is a podcast, so you'll be able to continue to listen to this program over and over and over and share it with all the people around the globe. So, again, Denise and Evan, thank you so much for being part of the program tonight.
Thank you, Patty.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. And here comes the song, You Have Made a Difference.
Thank you for listening to the Texas Conflict Coach. We hope you've enjoyed the program. You can find over 300 podcasts archived to listen at your own convenience at texasconflictcoach.com or download the podcast at iTunes or Stitcher Radio. To learn about upcoming radio programs and resources, sign up for our monthly e-newsletter. Thank you for listening to the Texas Conflict Coach. We hope you've enjoyed the program. You can find over 300 podcasts archived to listen at your own convenience at texasconflictcoach.com or download the podcast at iTunes or Stitcher Radio. To learn about upcoming radio programs and resources, sign up for our monthly e-newsletter. Welcome to the Texas Conflict Coach radio program. If you've ever experienced or engaged in destructive or unresolved conflict, then you know what leads to broken relationships, distrust, and damaging results. Our program will help you manage and resolve conflict effectively with strategies, valuable resources, and support. Since 2009, our radio program hosted guest experts from around the globe sharing their perspectives, experiences, and expertise while giving you food for thought. If you can't listen live, then download and listen to any of our 300-plus podcasts in our library at texasconflictcoach.com. So sit back, relax, or join the conversation every Tuesday evening, or tweet us at TXConflictCoach.